NBL now from John Cain Arena, where the South East Melbourne Phoenix just kept their season alive. Many thought the Hawks were going to roll through here. I predicted this one was going to go to game 3. Both of you said this was going to be over in 2. You didn't
say that?
No, you didn't say that. I thought that's the point where you jump at me and say, no, you idiot. We're all a little bit too tired.
Well, no, I did say that.
To even think. But right now, if you're the South East Melbourne Phoenix, we'll start with them. You're pretty happy with how this whole thing's turned out because you are battle-tested. You're going to a game 3. Bit of a free swing considering they still consider themselves underdogs.
And again, it's not rocket science. Get the ball to your superstar All-NBL first teamer, top 3 MVP candidate this year in Matt Hurt. Good things happen. They went to him early. They went to him often. And he's got that swagger about him. And I love our chat in the pregame with Josh King because he was all smiles. He was positive. He said, you take out that 5-minute 21-0 run in game 1, and the Phoenix were the better team. So they knew they were right there. Geordie Hunter got in foul trouble again, which we'll talk about, but a really, really strong performance. Weathered some storms from Illawarra, and they go back down to Wollongong, where you forget history, you forget regular season, you roll the balls out for 40 minutes, anything can happen.
You know what they're happy about? 32 points. 32 points they left on the table. Harvey and Kell had 48. They only had 16 together combined. They did a great job of just shutting those 2 guys down, and that's the difference. Sobey played well. Hurt, like you said, Hurt got going early. He's the leader of this team. When your leader's going well, you generally follow.
Josh King said that Illawarra did a really good job of sort of nullifying Hurt a bit, leaving him only to 6 shots. They were very physical with it. They were pushing around. What changed tonight to allow him to do what he did?
Well, it's 2 things. One, their action. I think they actually moved him a little bit better off the ball to get him in spots where he wants to be successful. But the other side of that, and we also alluded to it with Josh King, was Matt Hurt was aggressive asking for the ball. He was coming off screens with a purpose. He really wanted to get to the spots where he knew once he gets there, he's unguardable. As we spoke, you can't block him. Lockie Albrecht did one really good possession of slowing him down and forcing a tough shot, but they really went around, worked around their All-NBL first teamer, and again, good things happened with that. And I think Josh King had some tough decisions to make down the stretch. He sat Derek Walton Jr. for a long time because Foxwell was playing well, Angus Glover was awesome, and we've seen him do that. He's not afraid to make the big decision to keep superstars on the bench if someone else is rolling. And the flip side of that, when we talk about the Hawks, how good was Dave O'Hickey? Trey Kell had a really rough night. If Justin Tatum did the same thing and left Trey Kell on the bench and played Hickey, would they have got the job done? Which all genius is in hindsight, but it's fascinating to see the 2 different coaching chess games.
You know what happened? The media happened. We happened because we made a big deal about Matt Hurt not getting enough shots. Matt Hurt knew he didn't get enough shots. They had the meeting. Like Josh King said, we got to get our superstar going. He's amazing, man. We've been talking about him all year long. The fact that he has so much confidence in his game alone leads the team. It will make a team better.
I think we might be overstating our importance there. I think they would have realized that themselves.
You spoke about some of his shots. Some of his fallaways, sometimes aren't great, but his footwork is amazing. If he uses that a little bit more, he kills people.
And the other side of it is the good teams understand where some things don't need to be said. They would have gone back, sensed his frustration, looked at the box score. Wow, our best player only had 6 shots. They would have talked about it for sure. How do we get him more involved in the action? But for the good teams, they all sit there and just say, you know what? Say no more. We understand we've got to get you more involved. They did that from the opening tip. And no surprise, he had a 30-piece and they win.
It was 30-piece. There we go. Well, the highest score before this in a finals game for South East Melbourne was 26. Mitch Creek and I think Kiefer Sykes had that, both tied at 26. So very good to see him finally surpass that and put his name in the history books, hopefully for them with a championship to come as well. Nathan Sobey also with 25. At times Sobey giveth and at times Sobey taketh. He took a couple of rough ones throughout there, but overall was a big contributor.
I mean, he put heat on the rim. So I think that was the positive. We were sitting there watching as the Hawks continued to try and mount a comeback. Dave O'Hickey, when he subbed back in, was awesome, but he took a couple of rush shots, but they were layups, so he was putting heat on the rim, where in games past where you talk about where he can potentially lose them the game, he forces threes. He wants that dagger 3. He didn't settle for that this time. He said, you know what? He took quick shots where he probably didn't have to, but he still put heat on the rim and got layups. So that's something Justin Tatum will figure out. You know what? He made better decisions. How do we kick him out of the paint? But in the end, he stepped up as well. Their 2 leading offensive weapons did what they had to do, and that's why they came away with the win.
Angus Glover, the X factor in this one for me. And again, we've seen him do this throughout his career. He's an incredibly clutch player. Whether it be NBL 1, he plays for the Eltham Wildcats, hit countless game winners throughout the year. He did it for the Sydney Kings. We've seen him do it once for South East Melbourne. He's going to be a guy, if they can make it to a championship series, we saw it with Sydney, his game just elevates the bigger the contest.
He's battle tested, you're right. He's one of those guys that you don't need to run anything for him. He knocks down the big shots. He does all the little work. He dives after balls. He'll play the best offensive player. He's the kind of guy you need on a team because when you got guys like that, role players who can get the job done, everyone else fits in.
He spoke to us before the pregame show as well, and he said, should I get up 10 threes? And we laughed, and he said, I didn't get up enough in the first game. And that again, they understand that. And he's so important to them. He's so important to what they can do. So for him to go out there and play aggressive, he is that X factor. He's the heart and soul of the energy. So when everyone else seems a little flat, Hawks going on a run, he steps up, makes a big-time three. And that's what Angus Glover does. You talk about oozing clutch, so it's great to see him do that. Now he's got to go do it on a court that he knows very well growing up. And as we said, nothing else matters. Take history out of it. You've got 40 minutes between now and a championship series. It's all to play for.
My question is, what do they need to do going down there to get the win?
No, they don't have to change a heap. Because, again, outside of that 21-0 run, they were probably the better team in game one, so they'll be feeling good about themselves. They got Matt Hurt more involved. They must keep Geordie Hunter out of foul trouble. He had 4 fouls again. That is crucial because him and Sam Froling going at it, crucial that he stays out of foul trouble.
This first 5 games of the season has just given this sort of warped perspective of South East Melbourne that we still look back and think, oh, it's a miracle run, it's a turnaround. I mean, it's a long year. Yeah. It's 5 games. They're going to be 3 games into the goddamn playoffs by the time we're talking about. We have to just start looking at this thing like, hey, yeah, Illawarra is the benchmark. Yeah. But South East Melbourne are legit. This is no fairy tale if they manage to get this thing done.
You got to think, though, Harvey and Kell will play better.
Oh, they're going to bounce back.
You know, they're going to bounce. They're superstars. They're going to bounce back. But what can Phoenix do to negate that? Matt Hurt get going. Your big guy has to stay out of foul trouble, like you said. I think it's going to go down to the wire, to be honest.
Let's talk a little bit about Trey Kell, though, because he had a really rough night, and it wasn't just scoring the ball. We know the shot wasn't dropping. That happens. He did well to get some assists. He was on the glass as well. But what happens when you're struggling? You cannot let that affect your defensive end.
Right.
Yeah.
And there were certain clips there where he kind of looked like lost because he was frustrated with himself. I'm missing bunnies, and I understand that. We've all been there, done that, but you're too important to this team. So I talk about the different styles in coaching, where in Josh King, he's probably going to sit him and say, you know what, Dave Hickey's balling. Yep. Justin Tatum probably would have had that choice saying, as a head coach, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if in the moment you say, you know what, Hickey's balling, I'm going to sit Trey Kell, and it doesn't play out, everyone's saying you should have put your All-NBL first team back. So there's no real right answer, but in hindsight, maybe Dave Hickey should have continued to play because just Trey Kell was having one of those nights.
Well, we're talking Angus Glover lifting his game when he gets to play. Dave Hickey did the same thing in the semi-final series last year. Like, he's another guy that lifts his game and is going to be an X factor.
How much better is he, though? At the beginning of last year, he would come in and turn the ball over and make bad passes, and I'm thinking your IQ's not there. It just seems like every single game he's gotten better. Now, Tatum trusts him more than he trusts most of the other guys. They bring him in, he plays major minutes, and tonight he was a major factor.
His improvement has been outstanding, and it's every little piece of it. You talk about the composure. He knows that he gets out in transition. He's going to crash the offensive glass. I like the lineup with him and Greeter. They came in with a lot of energy as well. So Justin Tatum talks about their depth, but we see it on display. So credit to Dave Hickey. He was enormous, but as we said, now all of this doesn't matter. You've got 40 minutes between here and a championship series. Doesn't matter that Phoenix started 0-5. Doesn't matter the Hawks are the best team in it. Whoever wins one game continues their quest.
That's what's so good about game 3s. You could go down there and all of a sudden, hey, Sam Froling's in a bit of foul trouble. The whole thing's tipped on its head. Right. Matt Hurt gets in foul trouble. The whole thing's tipped on its head. As we go into game 3, whose camp would you rather be in? In South East Melbourne coming in with this sort of... What are you looking at with that hand?
No, go ahead.
What's going on there? What do you want to jump right in there?
I think we're talking about who it helps. So I think the Illawarra Hawks, you've got that home crowd. We were there. The home crowd matters.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He's got something to say.
No.
The home crowd are going to be on top of you, 100%. And that's going to help them continue to fight through it. So understanding that, I think the Hawks probably have the edge, but anything can happen.
He's been on the road for 4 days, and I just wonder why you're looking over there as your beautiful family sitting up there.
Security's trying to kick him out.
Security's trying to kick him out.
2 minutes.
They're all good. They're all good.
All right.
They're all good, yeah.
Calm down before we come get you.
Yeah. I've already had someone chest front me down there. We don't want another incident over here. But so getting back to that, the Illawarra Hawks, was there anything that's over these first 2 games? We speak about there being an explosion in the third quarter, which won them the game in game 1. They lose this one. Are you seeing any cracks? Are you thinking, okay, maybe they're just not bringing their A game so far?
You know what? We talk about them playing, but they set for 21 days. So it's going to take a little time for them to hit their groove. But I think this third game at home, they have to hit their groove.
They've shown the patches, right, that we saw throughout the season. So now it's like, okay, is the third game the chance to put it all together? Are we going to see Darius Days more? We saw him come in and make a really big impact.
That's such a weird one across the entire season.
Yeah.
The first 4 games of the year, he was looking unbelievable. In the preseason, he was looking unbelievable. And then he sort of tailed off. He's not playing bad, but he's just nowhere near that. We thought he was going to be an MVP caliber
Gary
guy.
Clark, we thought he was taking Gary Clark's place. We spoke about that, and I asked Tatum about that the last game, and he said, look, he's just playing a role right now.
And again, Justin Tatum rolled with Todd Blanchard in the first game, probably helped them win the game. And whoever's playing better at the time has got to be deserving of the minutes, but I think they need Days to step up in game 3.
Love it. So your final predictions for game 3?
Awfully hard to win a closeout on the road. Got to stay with the Hawks.
Hawks by 3.
Tell you what, I reckon South East Melbourne might just come in there and spark them, battle-tested. I think if both Perth and South East Melbourne win these games, we're going to look back on this and start saying, hey, a 21-day break, even though they got both got games won, I still think we're going to look at that and think, maybe it's not the best preparation, and hopefully, finally, they get that fever break and they shove it so far down to the ground that we can't see it no more at all. Thank you for tuning into NBL Now. 2 game 3s coming up. It doesn't get much better than this.